Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Midnight Makes. Um, I talk about all types of crafting. Today is a knitting journal episode. It's been like a month since I did my last one, and I've been meaning to sit down and do another one. However, it's just not happened. Um, I'm in kind of a weird spot. Hopefully, my plant lights don't throw off the lighting too much. Um, but they're doing street sweeping outside, and if I sit in my normal spot right next to that window is where they're currently at, and it was very loud. I am hoping to just get this done today. So I waited a little while, but um, oops, I decided to go ahead and do it today. Um, so lighting's are kind of off. We're going to do what we can. I'm also going to attempt to not have to edit too much because that takes a while and I don't want to do it. So, um, I have two finishes to show and three, yes, three whips to show that I've worked on over the last month. Mostly what I was working on over the last month was two test knits, which are two of the finishes, and then another test knit. So I've had a lot of test knitting to do. I am working on my third one, and then I am going to be taking a break from test knitting because I desperately, that's one of my whips, I desperately want to do vintage knitting. I've got vintage knitting plans and I've got vintage inspired knitting plans. So let's get started. What I'm wearing is also a finished object, so we'll go right into that. So this is my Aspen cardigan. This was a test knit for Stitching Simply. The pattern comes out Friday, I believe. Friday or Saturday. I can't remember. But it will be out this weekend. It is an oversized cardigan with cables, beautiful cables, and then this amazing moss stitch, which is insanely squishy, and I absolutely love it. I've only knit a few cardigans. Actually, I think I've only knit one. Crocheted some, bolero kind of cardigan type thing, but I really want to do more cardigans this year. So she gives you an option to do buttons, buttonholes, and buttons, or a buttonless version. I opted for a buttonless version because I like it without the buttons. I like it wide open, but I also like it like this with a shawl pin. My dad made this shawl pin and I love it. And I love that, just having it holding my cardigan closed and then having it open, especially wearing, I will stand up a little bit, especially wearing dresses. It being open like this will be awesome. I am just wearing these me-made pants. They kind of look and feel like PJ pants, which is awesome. And then I just have a store-bought tank top underneath. But this, I really like it. I love the fit. And actually, it is a little warm in here. I closed the windows to keep the sound down, so it's warm. So this is a little too warm, but I'm gonna wear it and sweat my way through this episode. So the yarn that I used for this is Barocco Vintage in the colorway Aurora. So this is a 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon yarn. It is beautiful. I bought it purely for this color, and I think I got it on Webs on yarn.com, I believe, and it turned out amazing. It's a little darker in real life, or in the video. That's about right, the right color. Just because of the lighting in here. It looks a little bit darker, but I love this. It turned out amazing. I had a blast knitting it, and I plan to wear it a lot. So my next finish is another test knit, and this is, where is the front? This is the Avalon cardigan, or nope, Avalon sweater. This is a full sweater. This is the Avalon sweater by Maiden Knitwear. It has contrast ribbing with this amazing detail. With it has contrast ribbing with this amazing detail. And oh, I love this. As soon as I saw this, I thought it was amazing. She gets inspiration for her patterns from medieval paintings, all that. This came from one of those. There's my hair on it. This is a fingering weight project. It's knit with, can you see the waist shaping? Yeah. It's knit with waist shaping at a pretty loose gauge, and it is just beautiful. I don't have a white skirt, but I think this would look amazing with a long white maxi skirt. But I love this ribbing pattern, and it turned out so good. Yes, can you kind of tell that there's a little bit of heathering to the yarn? And so you knit this bottom up, and this was a new construction style for me. You pick up the stitches, but then you do a short row sleeve cap, which I've never done on a pattern before, and I really loved it. So it's fitted, like this is this is where your body ends, this is where you pick up stitches and knit the sleeve. You don't have to do any short row shaping because it is oversized. But for this, you do the short rows to get the sleeve cap, and it's much more fitted, much more amazing. And I just love the way this came out. I think she is also releasing the pattern this weekend, I believe. But I just love the way it came out, and you get a little wider at the sleeves. It's just beautiful. So for this, I used, the blue is Knit Pick Stroll fingering in Sapphire Heather. And the yellow is La Bien Amie in the Twist Nouveau base in the color Yellow Brick Road. And I love this one. It turned out so gorgeous. I did kind of struggle with the collar because you pick up the collar and there's kind of a little, you have to connect. So you knit this much of the collar band and you're decreasing right here at the center fronts because it is a square neck. And then you cast off the back neck stitches and you have to connect your front neck stitches to the inside, which was kind of a struggle. She did really good at explaining it in the pattern though. So it was awesome. And other people had done it by the time I got there. So I was kind of able to see what everybody else's looked like. But I absolutely love this. So that is my second finish. My next whip, I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to show. My next whip is also a test knit, and this is the 13 dot and dash vest by Eleanor Alice Knitwear, and I'll show you the pattern up close. The patterning is stunning. Apparently I'm in a purple knitting mood right now. So this is just a tank top slash vest. I'm doing it pretty oversized, and yesterday I finally got the body connected and I'm just working my way down the body. This test knit has been a little bit more, not, I wouldn't say rough, but just there was a lot going on. The pattern had to go back to the tech editor and start over again. But thankfully, I had not started at that point, and by the time I started, most of the issues with the pattern had been worked out, which was awesome for me. Not for everybody else, but it was great for me. But I absolutely love this pattern. You start up here at the shoulders, work your way down, you pick up stitches, and do an applied I-cord edging on all of the edges, and I am just slowly working my way. She gives you the option for waist shaping. I'm not doing the waist shaping, so mine is just going to be knitting the pattern over and over again until I reach my desired length. So I am really enjoying this. And it's, now that it's in the round, it's really repetitive and I don't have to look at the pattern or really think. So the yarn I'm using is a yarn I've never used before. Tried it online and I wanted to try it, but it's Everyshine wool. It's 80% wool, 20% polyester, and I no idea what the color is. There's no, the color number is empty, so it is on all of the skeins. So my next whip is the Sew Summer shirts. I did the Sew Summer shorts by Jessie Made Designs earlier this spring. So I'm doing the Sew Summer shirt, and I am, oh, this is going to be hard to show because it's on short little needles. I'm doing it in a completely different pattern or different yarn. I'm doing it in this neon speckle yarn. I have, how do I show this? I've finished the body And then I've split for the front and the back. It's got a curled up edge, so it's actually a little bit longer um, than you think it is, but it is pretty cropped. Um, and I'm just working on the front and the back sections. Um, there's really not much to say about this one. I actually haven't worked on it in a while just because I've been concentrating on my 13 dot dash vest and my other um, my other test knit, which I will talk about in a second. Or not test knit, my other knit, not a test knit. But I love this. The yarn is stunning. So the yarn is Birch and Lily. She is currently on a break from dyeing. She might be done. It depends. She had a baby. Yay. So she's been on a break from YouTube as well. But I'm using it. This is in Birch Sock in the neon sprinkle base. I love this. I uh, sewed a pair of black shorts that are high-waisted black shorts. Excuse me. So I sewed a pair of high-waisted black shorts, and I think this will look super cute with them. So that's this project. There's not a lot to say. It's stockinette. It's knit constantly. Um, so my next pattern, I will grab the actual pattern to show, is the MAME. I think it's the MAME sweater. So this was originally released in the 1950s. It's a vintage pattern, and however, the pattern that I'm working off is rewritten and explained a little bit more by Bex at Subversive Femme. I love her, and she does Curvy Month on her blog once a year, because it's a month, where she releases patterns for free that are for curvier people. And I say curvier because a lot of these are still not really great size ranges. So if you've ever wanted to ornament a vintage sweater, you know that a lot of the vintage patterns come in one size, or they come in multiple sizes, but they're usually pretty small. So I have a 40-inch bust, and usually patterns from the 40s, 50s are for 36-inch busts, sometimes 38, or smaller. And so I have to size up when I knit vintage sweaters. Not for this one. So this is the sweater that I'm knitting. It is a sleeveless. Well, it's got like a little bit of sleeves, but they're not actually knit as sleeves. I'll show you in a minute. But it's a sleeveless turtleneck, and Bex has knit this one, and she's gone through and added a little bit more detail. Here's her picture of the back. She's added a little bit more detail. It is still a basic pattern. If you've ever knit a vintage sweater, there's a vintage pattern at all. There's really no hand holding. There's no explanations of anything. You're just told, do this, do this, do this. And that's it. So she's added a little bit of information. So this one, I know that she graded it up as well, because I think in the original pattern there was only a few sizes. But this one has 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, and 56. And this is a freebie on her Curvy Month, um, her Curvy Month blog. I also have the original pattern. She shares it on the blog as well, which I saved it just for fun. Um, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's a rather simple knit. However, I am adding a little bit of extra oomph to it because I am doing more than one color. I'm doing two colors. So I have two. No, it's all tangled. Okay. I have two pieces because I'll explain in a second. So this is the back piece. I'm doing it in this heathered black, and I'm doing it with a pop of pink. So you knit the ribbing, you do the body, and then when you get to the armholes, you cast on extra stitches, and that's how you get your sleeve. And then once you're done, it'll be uh, this edge will be rolled in part of the way and tacked down on the inside, so the sleeve will be about that size. And you get a nice double knit edge, kind of a double knit. It's not really double knit. But I am working on the back panel. For the back panel, I am just doing the ribbing in pink and then the rest in black. I also casted on the front piece, and I'm still working on the ribbing. The main reason why I cast this on is I am dying for a new cast on. I have cast onitis really, 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 really bad. All I want to do is cast on all of the vintage sweaters, all the vintage inspired sweaters. I don't want to work on that, but I need to. So to kind of combat that a little bit, I cast it on the front and started doing the ribbing. Didn't really work. I still want to cast on everything, but I am holding myself to I have to finish a project before I can cast on another one for now. I know if you saw my last video from last week, it was my whip graveyard where I talked about all my whips and frogged them. I know I talked about it and made it seem like I care about how many whips I have, but in reality, I don't. Sometimes having a lot of whips stresses me out. Other times, I don't care. And I really, if you want to cast on something, do it. Who cares how many whips you have? Who cares if you finish anything? As long as you're having fun and you're enjoying your hobby. That's what I say. So I'm just trying to get my test knit done. Once that's done, I am going to be casting on all of the things. Um, Also, I kind of need the needles that I'm using for the MAM sweater because the next one I'm doing is a vintage inspired. It's not vintage. I'll talk about it in a minute. So that's this one. The front is going to be pink ribbing, going to be black. I'm going to do some form of pink up at the top. I haven't really decided. Like once I get to the sleeves. And then I'm going to do the collar, the turtleneck portion. I'm going to do that in pink as well. So we'll get there. Sorry, a little bit bothering my dog. Okay. The yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Fingering in Hawthorne. Good Lord. trying to read it backwards, in Hawthorne, and I'm using Blackbird cattle dye as the black and Turkish Delight cattle dye as the pink. So those are the yarns that I'm using. I had them in my stash, and honestly, I would have loved to do it all in black, but I didn't have enough yarn to do it that way. So I am taking a memo from the 1940s with the make, do, and mend um, movement, especially the make, do part, and I'm using what I have. So that's why I'm using that pink color, but I actually am really loving the way it's turning out. So that's all my whips for now. I thinking I am in the Squid School of Vintage Knitting, that's done by Squidney Knits, Sydney on Instagram. She does patterns. I have one of them right here. I'm not going to grab the other ones because they're in a pile. She does vintage inspired patterns in her group, but she does them. Where's the picture? She does them in. They're incredibly size inclusive because you do a lot of the math. You need to know your gauge with the yarn that you're going to work, and then you do the math for everything. She has it written out though, and then you just input your numbers. That way it fits you. There's no, it's not made for someone else's body. Like, you know, like these sweaters, yes, I chose the sweater for the chest measurements, but you know, your length from your neck to your shoulder is determined by what the average is. With Sydney's patterns, it's not like that. So she has a bunch of patterns from that are in Patreon, and the one she's been doing the last few months has been Carmen Miranda inspired. I'll put a picture of her up here. I love her. She's so cool. And Sydney did a sweater pattern that is color block squares, kind of, that was inspired by a sweater that Carmen Miranda wore. And I didn't want to do a bunch of editing, but I'll put Sydney's photo right here. And then there is also a cardigan to go with it so that it has a twin set. I'll again put it right here. So I want to do those. I'm going to do mine in black. I already have, the main color is going to be black, and the accent colors are going to be neon because that's what I want to do. The colors might not be vintage, but it's going to look vintage. And then another one that I want to do is from, it's actually, I'm going to want to do 3 patterns that are from a set of patterns she released, oh, like I think last summer. But so the first is going to be a dress. This is the Four Seasons dress. She did a Four Seasons collection that had a dress, a skirt, a blouse, and belts. And I am going to do the dress, and then I'm going to do a separate skirt and blouse in different colors. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do the dress first or if I'm going to do the blouse and the skirt first. I will figure it out. But my next cast on will definitely be the Carmen Miranda. I'm going to do the jumper first, and then I'm going to do the cardigan. And those are going to be my next cast on projects. And I can't wait. I actually got, um, because I knew I was going to need a lot of black, I bought a cone of black. So this is, um, it's Knit Picks palette yarn, just in a cone. There are 2,310 yards, and I got the black. Um, and this is going to be my main color for the Carmen Miranda set, and I can't wait. There's also she also did a pattern um to go with the Carmen Miranda set that is strawberries, because Carmen Miranda used to wear a lot of fruit hat headdress things, and Sydney did some strawberry ones, and I will definitely be making those in strawberry colors. I won't make them in black, but I'm excited. I mean, for 49 something dollars plus shipping, which I bought another one in a different color as well. Decent price. I'm excited to work with it, and I'm also excited because um, less ends to weave in, which is always my goal in life. I just the 13 dash vest had so many ends to weave in. Um, so I spent like an hour on Sunday weaving in all of the ends, because I knew if I waited till the end, those ends were never going to get weaved in. So, with a big ass cone of yarn, my goal is to not have to weave in a lot of ends, though I'm sure I will end up taking this off. We leave in about a little over a month for vacation, and I'm hoping to have this Carmen Miranda jumper and cardigan set as my knitting projects um, for that trip, which means that I will probably cast on probably the skirt for the Four Seasons set. Maybe the dress. Probably the dress. Let's be honest. I'm probably going to do the dress. And that can be like kind of knit around here. I don't think I will take the dress as a knitting project, since it's going to be pretty big, but definitely a 40s, 40s, yeah, pretty sure it's 40s. A 40s jumper and cardigans, twin sets, will be perfect for taking on the plane and knitting. So that is all I've got for today. Thank you for hanging out with me and seeing what I'm doing. Let me know what you're knitting, crocheting, cross stitching, what craft is. Let me know what you're making below. Um, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye.